What players could enter the transfer portal and the sad state of the college player pool? Campus2Canton is live right now. Almost a full house tonight. Felix Sharpe, Chris Moxley, and Austin Nace for Campus2Canton.com. If you like what it is that we're doing, then go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. What is it that we're doing? We're pushing the college fantasy football format, specifically the Campus2Canton format that incorporates both college and NFL players. Here we are in week 8. We're in week 8, gentlemen. The season is really passing us by. I don't know about you, but I feel like I like the off season way much better than the regular season. It's just too much information to take in the regular season. Chris, we were talking about what we should talk about today, and I mean, it's almost like you want to do a sad State of the Union after we lose this 2024 class, or even including the 2024 class. You've been disappointed in what we've been seeing on the field out of the fantasy relevant positions.
Sorry, I was muted for a second.
And now the show.
Of course. Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and I said this.
You've been out for a while, so welcome back.
I have been out for a while, but I was out long enough to notice how poor I think the Devy landscape is. And when I say Devy, the college to NFL pipeline for skill position players, I think it's probably the weakest it's been in a long time. I was going back to our 2022 Devy guide, and I was looking at players, and I was like, okay, let's tier 1 quarterbacks: CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams. It's a pretty good list. Like, I don't feel confident about a good chunk of current collegiate quarterbacks the way I did about that group. And yeah, Bryce Young is what he is in the NFL, but like, he was still a first overall pick. So there is some credence there, right? Running backs: Bijan, Travion were our top 2. But even like, we had Jahmyr Gibbs there. We had a lot of really productive and good running backs. Even before that, Breece Hall's class was a big one, right? Like, we had players we were really confident in getting that draft capital. I just don't see that in the current landscape. Like, I think you have a break between. I think there's some good players in this class. I think Luther Burden. I think Tet McMillan. I think Ashton Jeanty's probably going to end up a first-round running back. Quarterbacks, how good do you feel about projecting any of the quarterbacks to the NFL level? I think we like Carson Beck the best. I think Shedeur Sanders has taken some steps. I think he's been way better this season than I've ever seen him play. But still, like, how confident are you the same way you were confident about those guys 2 years ago? I just don't see it. Like, I think actionable advice is trade those Devy assets into NFL pieces if you can, just probability-wise.
Now Felix is muted. Come on, guys.
Oh,
come on.
Listen, we both missed layups. Okay, to start the game, let's focus in. I think we talked about this to start the season, right? We talked about, hey, if you're starting for the first time, Campus2Canton leagues, and you're doing startup drafts, sorry, but there aren't the established guys like there have been in previous seasons. Think about 2020. We had like guys like Garrett Wilson out there, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence,
Waddle, Pickens. Those are both
Waddle, like guys, first round guys that we thought were really established. And you look at the player pool coming into the season, it didn't really feel that way. Now, let's look at the 2024 class, the class that we expect to leave. At the top at wide receiver, Tedoroy McMillan, Travis Hunter, Luther Burden, Evan Stewart, Isaiah Bond, Emeka Mbuka, Elike Mayor. I think that those guys are still that can command solid draft capital. But then look at the running back class after Ashton Jeanty. As far as production goes this season, Quinshon has been splitting the field with Travion. Nick Singleton, okay. I think as far as the production that we want to see, probably DJ Giddens has been right up there with Ashton Jeanty. And Caleb Johnson, who we didn't expect to have the season that he's having, he's kind of taken a big step forward. You don't like the quarterback class, but I do expect like 3 or 4 of these guys to go in the first round. Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, maybe Garrett Nussmeier, but he might be one of those guys like Andy Dalton guys that falls to the second round. Andy Dalton, Drew Brees fell to the second round. but then started the for their teams. Jalen Milroe, I think Jalen Milroe is a borderline first round guy. So there's Jackson Dart, could potentially a first or second round guy. So I still think the 2024 class is strong. But what we really need to talk about is what the landscape looks like after the 2024 class leaves.
I mean, I don't even think 2024 is that strong. Like, if I told you that I wanted you to give me a list of players that you are, 80% or more sure have strong NFL careers, barring injury, how many names are you writing on that piece of paper?
Tet,
Genty. I would put Burden on there.
I don't know why you guys love Burden, and I don't. Burden is so scheme dependent. I still
80% feels high for Luther Burden, considering
it does.
what I think his limitations are as a player. But the list is short is the answer. Like it's not more than 3 or 4 players, and it's definitely not that for the quarterbacks, because I think each of the quarterbacks have major flaws. Like, and I like Cam Ward, right? But I like Garrett Nussmeier. But these are limited players, at least as they currently exist.
Luther Burden is a like Debo. He is a Debo Samuel type, right? If Debo Samuel is put out like at X and just asked to be used as a traditional wide receiver, I don't know that he would be the same. He would have the same value in the space. That's why, I mean, I said this coming into not this season, but the season before, that Luther Burden, he was Laviska Shenault. Now, last season he was deployed a little bit downfield, but he's still not a true X. A slot wide receiver that you want to see. I mean, last week he scored from the back. He scored like on a dive from the goal line. So, I mean, still a guy that you want to be used in that Swiss Army knife kind of way. And that's not something you can just guarantee going to the next level. So I wouldn't put Luther Burden there. Listen, Austin, I'm sorry, but I think that Shedeur Sanders at this point, Shedeur Sanders, his comp might be Jared Goff. If you can protect him, and get a strong running game, strong tight end, strong wide receiver, he might be really good. Carson Beck the same.
The opposite of what Colorado has right now.
Well, I mean, they have all that strong.
A good tight end.
Oh yeah, it's a good tight end.
Offensive line.
They have good skill position players. Last week's injuries notwithstanding, that's good. You get what I'm saying. Like Shedeur Sanders his comp might be Jared Goff. So I might put him in that 80% range. I know that hurts because we've been kind of all over the place, but in back, so maybe 4. I don't know. Let me just throw this out there. I traded the number 1 overall pick. I have a league where I'm like definitely a dynasty league where I'm going to get the number 1 overall pick. I traded it for Trevor Lawrence because of something what you said on Campus Life a couple of weeks ago, Austin, and do I want to take that risk for a team that's needs a quarterback, super flex league, 14-team league? Do I want to take a risk on Shedeur with the Giants, Carson Beck with whomever, or Trevor Lawrence? I think I'm going to trade. I'll take Trevor Lawrence there. So I don't know. What do you say as far as who have an 80% chance to have a good career at the next level? Who are those guys?
I'd put 3 names down from this class, and that's it. Genty, Stewart, and Tet. Or not Stewart. Genty, Burden, and Tet. Those are the 3 that I'd write down. I like other players behind them. I like Ekmek Ekbuka.
I know.
If I could get last week's Evan Stewart 75% of the time, I would put Evan Stewart on that list. We'll see if that can continue. Who else in this class? Not Ollie Gordon, not
Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren.
I do like Tyler Warren, but I have a real hard time just as a policy putting tight ends on a list like that. But I do like Tyler Warren quite a bit. I mean, yeah, it's thin, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting to talk about the names. We talked about this a little bit a couple of days ago in the Discord. Why is it? What is the symptom that has caused us to get here? And we talked about a lot of things. We talked about, is it the COVID year, both from the original talent identification, the guys that were kind of high school juniors, seniors those years kind of impacted some of them. Is it then it created a backlog in college, and so then a bunch of guys didn't get to play for a couple years, and it kind of gummed things up? Is it like, not to be anti? Like, I have long said I don't think you can have all three of completely open transfer portal, NIL, and what's the third one? And unlimited transfers. Like, I don't think you can have all three of those together. I think you have to pick two. I think that is potentially a bit of an issue in terms of, coaches planning, developing what's going to happen over the next couple of years. I mean, I think there's a lot of different maybe we could talk about, but I mean, it doesn't look like it's getting better over the next couple of years. I mean, I think if I did a startup and a C2C startup draft today in the college side, I might just be tempted to take Jeremiah Smith first overall and just say, screw it.
He's the best player in college football, so why not?
I would probably take him or Genty, just because Genty's like going to be an NFL running back getting there next year. Like, there's not a lot of projecting there to next year. Like, I mean, those are the only two guys that I think you can even consider with that pick.
I thought you were talking about if you did a startup draft next year. You mean like right now?
Like today, if I did a startup.
Yeah. I mean,
if we did one next year, I think it's no question. I think you have to take Jeremiah Smith or Arch Manning. I think those are the two you take.
Yeah.
Or Ryan Williams.
I mean, here's the other question then that comes up. We don't feel good about this class. I feel even worse about the next class. Like, I think the next class is worse than this one.
Let's talk about that, because I've written down some of the names that are going to be at the top of all the position groups after we lose the 2024 class. This is what the quarterback class looks for my rankings after we lose Shador, Cam Ward, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck. Quarterback 1, Nico Iamaleava, who is not having an outstanding season by any means. Drew Aller, Arch Manning, Dylan Royola. It ain't Dylan Royola is going to be fine, but there's no CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields in that top 4. At the running back position, Trevor Etienne, number 1.
Who technically, we talked about this on Campus Life this week, is technically eligible this year. So if you want to talk about guys that can leave, I mean, he might not be there.
But I've got Genty, Judkins, Singleton, Henderson, Giddens in front of him. So I got Etienne at 6. He moves up to number 1. Nate Frazier, Justice Haynes, and then I think that there's a chance that Amarian Hampton comes back. He's number 4. That's like, I know. Wide receiver is a little bit
Caleb Johnson
better.
leaves? Because I think Caleb Johnson could be.
No, I think Caleb Johnson
leaves next year.
He should.
No, I think Caleb Johnson has to parlay this season into
stylistically attached to Iowa's offense. Yeah, I think you don't want to do another 300 carry season for an offense averaging 20 points a game. That seems not great.
Do you feel good about any of the second year or I guess they'll be entering the third year backs? Like, I don't feel great about Justice Haynes where he's at. CJ Baxter is basically a lost season. Ruben Owens is a lost season. Like, there's a lot of guys who just aren't. I don't want to say they're not going to hit, because they can always come back and be fine post injury, right? Or circumstance. But that running back class, we didn't even think it was very good in general as like evaluators. And I say we in the, like I said, the royal we earlier before we kicked off the show. But yeah, I just don't know that's going to really pay dividends, especially the running back position. It's just a bad group of backs right now.
Well, we knew that the group coming into 2024 was unestablished. We thought that guys like, Justice Haynes, Nico Iamaleava, guys like that would establish themselves, but they really haven't. Like, they're at the top of the rankings based on what they were as recruits, as prospects coming in, not because of what they've done. And I'm sorry, but it seems like Alabama's starting to lean more on Jam Miller at the running back position than they are Justice Haynes. I still think that he's a really talented player. At the wide receiver position, after we lose the 2024 class, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Eugene Wilson, and then Cam Coleman.
Carnell Tate. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Carnell Tate.
TJ Moore. I mean, that's
gross.
That's gross.
Wesco.
That is really gross.
Yeah.
That is
gross. You have 2 superstar prospects who I think should go 1 and 2 back-to-back in C2C drafts this offseason. I think the answer is, well, I think the top 3 is pretty clear, because I think Arch Manning deserves to be there. But, like, I wouldn't fault anybody for going Ryan Williams, too. Like, superstar level prospects. After that, it's like when you said Eugene Wilson 3, I was like, ugh, because I don't even think Eugene Wilson's very good, at least at the NFL level.
I think from a, you know, how I kind of draft my first couple of rounds of C2C anyways, you know, I'm kind of looking for a guy that I think is early in a draft going to hold value or increase, you know, lower risk of decreasing. And I think next year it's going to be sharper to take those second-year wide receivers. Even outside Smith and Jeremiah Smith,
Wingo,
Ryan Williams, I think we're talking
Cam Coleman.
Man, I'm still not even so Wingo is big and fast, and I think you can do some things with him. We haven't really seen him play wide receiver yet this year, though. Like in terms of
like Zachariah Branch
playing wide receiver.
Zachariah Branch.
He's big and fast. So I think he's actually a guy that I probably am not taking next year, not because of my priors on him, but I just am a little worried from that standpoint. But I think you're looking at, TJ Moore, Cam Coleman, Bryant Wesco is having a really good year. I think you dip into that pool before you touch the Eugene Wilsons, Carnell Tates, Zach Branches, et cetera. Of the world. I think you have to. Jonte Cooks, who's been a disappointment this year. Yeah.
Jace Brown is going to be a top 10.
That class is really good
next year. Denzel Boston is probably going to be a top 10 wide receiver for me next year, just based on my rankings. Yeah, if I think so. Oh my God. Like Micah Hudson, who's he's probably not. He's probably going to break a year 1-0 threshold. But I mean, he's going to be a top. Oh my God. Squirrel White is going to be like in the top 15. I don't. It's just gross. It's gross.
I nuked Squirrel White a few weeks ago.
I put him down to 30. Like I got to move him down.
Oh, I took him to like 90 or 100.
Oh, okay.
If he's not doing anything now, what's he going to do? He's not going to the NFL, like not at any sort of relevant capacity to what we're doing here, which is honestly a point that I think is important to discuss when we talk Nico being disappointing. If you came into the year a big believer in him from a talent perspective, unless just he's Tennessee's quarterback and Josh Heupel's offense, and that's why you like him, then I think now is not a bad time to buy him. Their wide receivers are crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's Heupel's problem because he's just looking for one type of player. And it's not a very good player. Like of any of the wide receivers in that team, like even Squirrel White, we had him in our freshman guide, but it was basically he's Jalen Hyatt. We don't think Jalen Hyatt's an NFL wide receiver, but this guy's going to play that role.
That's
right. We thought Dante Thornton stinks. We thought Brew McCoy stinks. We thought
what's Caleb Webb up to?
Chris Brazzell.
We did not like Mike Matthews compared to what the services thought of him coming out. We did not love Leacock. We did not love. I mean, just insert name here. It's like it's either tiny small or small fast guy or big fast guy. Like which box are you opening here? So I do think maybe that issue doesn't fix itself. So maybe that doesn't make you feel that great. But I think it's not just a Nico problem.
And I'm putting you on the guys on the spot here, but considering because there's a name here that let me just get the question out there. Considering that the player pool is very shallow, can you think of any guys that it would be wise to acquire now who could take a big jump going into 2025? A name, I'm here looking at my wide receiver rankings. I had London Humphreys around 40 or 50 or something. When I look at the wide receiver ranks, why did you make that face?
London Humphreys around 40 or 50?
Where do you have London Humphreys?
120s.
Oh, come on.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
Can't go to white guy EGA, huh?
I need to look at your okay. How about this then? Matthew Golden. I don't know where you have it. Same concept. Like who could take a jump in 2025 in the rankings? After we lose a whole bunch of guys, I don't see why not. Matthew Golden, Dane Key, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if he even returns.
I don't even know. There's not a lot of.
Here's a guy. Terry Bussey.
Yeah,
great call.
Like wide receiver is just so bad, and I'm still not even. I'm not sure what their plan is for Terry Bussey. Honestly, I'm not even saying for my own I don't think he should play wide receiver. I don't know what their plan is for Terry Bussey at Texas A&M, but I have him in the 80s. Maybe I should have him a little bit higher. Maybe I'll reconsider that. But And he's a guy that could just jump up just based on, everybody else is gone, maybe.
I like that just because he's a freak athlete, right? Former 5-star
Yeah.
at true
Who's
athlete.
that?
Mine was going to be. No, I was going to say mine was going to be Mazio Bennett, wide receiver, South Carolina, who I think
He's a good one.
is clearly the best option on the team right now on a team of terrible wide receivers. I hate the situation. I don't like the offensive coordinator. I think they're going to have a new head coach. Is Lawrence Teller's going to be there? Who's going to be the quarterback? Is Bennett even going to be there? I just think he's been pretty good among that class of really good true freshmen. He's kind of got under the radar, but he's been all right.
A guy that I'm thinking about is Antoine Raymond at Rutgers. So there's a couple of running backs who are kind of poised to step into a starting position for a guy. So now Raymond is kind of he's the backup along with Sam Brown, but Raymond is a true freshman. I'm thinking of Cameron Dickey in Texas Tech. What's the big white running back at Iowa State that's backing up
Carson Hansen?
Yeah, Carson Hansen. Carson Hansen starting to overtake Abu Sama. And quite frankly, we've said this name a bunch. Me and Matt have the last couple of weeks, but Isaac Brown at Louisville, Isaac Brown, top 10 running back going into 2025 is not out of the question at Louisville. I don't think that you can acquire. People play C2C kind of know that name already, but I'm just trying to think of given that the landscape is kind of shallow, who could you potentially acquire? And it's just, I don't know. I'm having a hard time coming up with names or suggestions here.
I think Sire Gaines at Boise State. If you're in a non-CFF league, I think you could get him for cheaper than he probably goes. Because I think a lot of people like Breezy Dubar. I just think Sire Gaines is a better player currently. And even if Sire Gaines is not better than Breezy Dubar, they're going to split to the point where both are going to be productive for your college fantasy team. And I think we like the Gaines profile in terms of how it relates to the NFL. You could do worse. He's our 88th running back. That's cheap.
I've got a good one. I think I've got a really good one. Quentin Joyner at USC.
Joyner's a good one.
He's been good.
Quentin Joyner at USC. I don't know that his value has kind of caught up to what. So the beat writers really liked Quentin Joyner coming into the season. They thought, beat writers thought that Silas Bolden was Matthew Golden. So you can't really count on beat writers, but they were really high on Quentin.
I'm never going to forgive that, by the way.
I'm never going to forgive either because I was the one talking about how good Silas Bolden was going to be. I had him ranked in the top 20 because they said that he was the number one wide receiver.
I don't need to go on a tangent about it, but
it's totally.
I'm just mad all over again considering the reporting on that one.
Yeah,
it really got to me. How do you mess up Silas Bolden and Matthew Golden? They aren't even close to the same size. Even if you messed up the name on the back of the jerseys, Golden has at least 4 inches on him, at least. Well, Silas Bolden's not very big. You ain't gonna mistake him. It just behooves me that could happen, but it did. It did for weeks on end too. Not just once. Weeks on end. Sorry, I wasn't gonna get mad, but I did.
Austin, I haven't watched Eli Holstein. I know that he's been productive because I can see the box score and his fantasy points, but Eli Holstein, top 15 quarterback going into 2025, is that fair?
Yeah, Mike and I were talking about this week on Campus Life. It's so tough because he's literally started 6 college football games, and he does a lot of boneheaded stuff that you would kind of expect, a new starter to do. And it's so easy to sit there and say all he has to do is clean that up, and he'll be, imagine what's going to happen to his stock. But so many of these guys don't clean that up. I think there's a lot of Will Levis kind of to his game. So I don't
Is that so bad though? Will Levis was able to trick a lot of people into thinking he was good because he looked good in shorts.
The thing, he went in the second round. He's never been good in the NFL. You never actually really recouped value, even if you thought you were going to be able to, because nobody actually believed in him when he got to the NFL. And I think the one underrated thing that people aren't talking about with Eli Holstein, Pitt brings in a new OC from Western Carolina. And I think he's a lot of the reason, not that the offense is necessarily gimmicky, but they're playing at a really fast pace. Like, and again, like the leading guy, the receiver on the team is the running back. Like that's kind of telling you like what they're doing offensively here. Like it's Bombs and Desmond Reed. If that OC leaves, what does that do for Eli Holstein's development? Does it expose him anyway? If you don't really trust Pat Narduzzi to hire another offensive coordinator that's competent immediately, like I think he's real risky. I mean, I like what he's doing this year, and I'm obviously hopeful, but I would not have him top 15. That would just make me like really scared. I'm treating him as CFF only as of today. So
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say it's not like we liked his profile. Like we were a lot of people were joking that we think he should switch to tight end. He's a good athlete.
And quarterbacks, I'm willing to just like totally just reverse. Like, okay, I was wrong. Like,
yeah, I just don't know. We've seen NFL traits and throws out of him this year, outside of like what the offense is giving him. Because you can say it's not gimmicky. It's kind of gimmicky, is what it is. Like Cade Bell in the Western Carolina, like I think his dad's the head coach there, and it's kind of like a learned system. But it's a little gimmicky. So I'm not really ready to anoint Holstein anything more than like a good CFF quarterback.
James adds in the chat, he said, with NIL, why would Nuss leave? Garrett Nussmeier, Katron Allen probably staying. Evan Stewart could stay. I mean, I don't think that that's wrong. I think that they could. All of those guys could stay.
I think Allen has to stay, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where's he getting drafted? The 4th round? The 5th round?
Right.
I mean, I think he has to.
But he's I said this, I don't know if I said it last week or 2 weeks ago. Can't you see him in the NFL getting like 18 carries a couple weeks in a row just because the coordinator likes how he runs? Like isn't that Katron Allen? Like 18 carries, 62
yards.
Yeah, he
could, but I mean, as a running back, you want to get
the
biggest first
contact. He's not going to lose the yardage.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have any NFL value, NFL like fantasy value. It's just, I think that's kind of his projection.
I mean, people were excited about Kimani Vidal last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like really fun college running back, but like you are not serious people, you know, like Succession. Like you are not serious running backs. I mean, that's kind of the class of player that so many of these running backs are. Like you're just big and you can take punishment. Like, okay, I guess those are good characteristics. But
okay. You led the NCAA in rushing because your office coordinator gave you 350 carries. Like, congratulations.
I mean, there's so
like
many of these
too,
guys.
but I mean, not that much.
No.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. The player pool, it is a little bit depressing, but some of these guys are going to emerge at some point. Maybe next week or the next couple of weeks, we might have to do a 2025 C2C startup draft to see. And we are going to get an influx of talent in with the freshmen. Man, some of those freshmen are going to go like Bryce Underwood. Like those guys are going to go really high in startups next year. The quarterback class are going to go really high in startups.
Assuming nobody skyrockets or just craps the bed, I can't see Bryce Underwood coming in any worse than like my QB 5 next year, and would honestly probably be higher than that. You have
Bryce Underwood,
Archulagwe, Rayola, and then Nico are the 4 you can argue with him. You can kind of figure that out from there.
What's a good question? Would you rather have Bryce Underwood or Nico as of today?
It's a valid question.
Yeah,
I was kind of looking for an answer.
That's what it sounds like. Austin's just not going to get it.
I'll take Bryce Underwood. I'll take Bryce Underwood today.
I think that's the right answer, especially in terms of insulating value.
Yeah, and if Gus does come back, that value is insulated for another season, where Nico might take a dive like your boy Jackson Arnold after next season. Okay, let us know what your thoughts are on the player pool overall. You can let us know in the comments. What else was I going to say? Underdog promo code C2C for a deposit match of up to $250. By the way, Austin, people have been playing with the underdog promo code. Is that right? People have been using it.
Well, yes, but people have been using the home field code. So thank you everybody for that. We got our most recent monthly report yesterday.
I'm getting mixed up on what report we got.
I understand why.
It's called Underdog Apparel is the company or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's like their LLC. Like
Home Field's thing is called Underdog Apparel. Okay, That's why I got it mixed up.
Yes, I can see why that would be confusing. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm leaking company information out here, like other people's company name. But yes, so.
Well, use our and what's the promo code for Home Field?
Campus2Canton.
Okay, Campus2Canton on Home Field, C2C on Underdog. Just use the promo codes if you want to support what it is that we're doing.
I will say we don't partner with a lot of stuff. Underdog just literally makes the comfiest shit I own. I'm wearing their sweatpants right now. I wear something of theirs every day if I'm not in the office. Summer, fall, winter, doesn't matter. Just comfy quality stuff.
There we go. All right. We're talking about players who could enter the transfer portal. And Austin didn't bring a list. I have a list here.
I will post the text messages online. You said, I'm just going to bring 20 names and I'm going to drop them live and let you guys react. So
you can still bring your own.
And I said, whoa, time out. Hold on. I said, do you need names? And Felix said, I'm saying in capitals, I am. That's a very clear dismissal.
I'm saying I'm bringing the names. Like you could have brought names also. That I wasn't excluding you all from bringing names. All right, let's throw these out here. So I think what I ended up doing was having a transfer for good reasons list, a transfer from bad reasons list, and then a mix of both. So I've got 13 here. Let's start with the bad reasons. Micah Hudson, mentioned him at Texas Tech. The coach doesn't even know his name. What is it? Is it Michael? Did they call him Michael Hudson?
He called him Michael. Yeah.
Michael Hudson, McGuire, Joey. Coach doesn't even know the player's name. Jackson Arnold is an obvious one to me, right? Austin, you seem to think that he's going to stay at Oklahoma, that they're going to go back to him.
I don't know. Like I'm just saying, I think everyone is now just saying Jackson Arnold is done at Oklahoma, and I just want to push back a little bit on that. Like I don't think it's such a foregone conclusion that I'm sitting here saying, "Well, Michael Hawkins is the starter at Oklahoma next year, and Jackson Arnold will be somewhere else." Michael Hawkins hasn't been good. He just is mobile, and behind that offensive line, they have to have somebody that can do that. Hawkins last week, I get it's Texas, looked terrible that whole game. I mean, and he's also throwing to bums, but. It's not like he's been good, so I don't know that for sure is going to happen.
This is a boring
neither at Oklahoma.
Yeah, they might both be bad, but
yeah, that's I just don't know that. Does Arnold really want to come back to that situation? Like that's really the question more than like, can he earn the job back? Like
where else does he go? That's like always the other question. Like
the
grass has to look
He's from Texas, right?
He's from Texas.
He's from Texas.
Go to Texas Tech.
TCU's got a guy. I think Texas Tech likes their options. I don't think they can afford Jackson Arnold. TCU's got their guy. I think SMU has their guy in the either Jennings or Stone, one or the two of them.
It's Jennings. It's Jennings.
So I think
he's from Denton. That's where North Texas is.
I don't know.
North Texas starting quarterback.
He's not going to North Texas. But in the video game simulation, who was it that transferred to North Texas? I got
Walker White there and won an.
Yeah, Walker White. Yeah. Walker White transferred to North Texas and won the Heisman. Okay. So Jackson Arnold, I've got this is a boring one, but Rashad Devinian at Arkansas, he's behind Braylon Russell and Jaquindon Jackson.
Is he for sure? I thought he was hurt.
Is Rashad Devinian hurt? I mean, even if he is,
yeah, I thought he was hurt.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Deuce Robinson. I want Deuce Robinson to go replace Tetaroa McMillan so bad. Go back to Arizona. He went to Pinnacle. Two-sport athlete there.
Can we get a new quarterback?
Maybe.
Because I think that's a bigger issue with Arizona than
Send him
anything
to-
else. I mean,
send him to Arizona
no feed has been
State.
terrible.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't have
Okay,
a
now
problem
we're
with
good.
that.
So I think the thing that's going to hold Deuce Robinson back, whatever he decides to do, is his insistence on continuing to play baseball.
Yeah.
He needs to quit baseball
Probably.
yesterday.
Are you telling me those 7 at bats that he's getting in the spring football window isn't making a difference?
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
When he wasn't drafted in the MLB draft, and I think DJU went despite not playing football in like
Or baseball.
probably like 10 years or something, I was like, yeah, it's Deuce Robinson's probably not that guy.
Wasn't he a player of the year in both sports though? Deuce Rob he follows like AJ Brown. Like AJ Brown's the only person to ever do that. Like be an All-American or something like that in both sports. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, so those are the players that I have who could transfer for bad reasons, meaning like talent, they've gotten their spot taken, not getting playing time, etc. For good reasons. Darian Mensah at Tulane. I mean, I'm a big fan of Darian Mensah. Now, he's terrible when it comes to facing pressure, kind of like Shedeur Sanders was a couple of years ago. You absolutely have to protect him. But he's just a really good ball placement specialist guy. And so I think that the Power Five will come calling for him the same way the Power Five came calling for Cam Ward a couple of years ago when he was at Incarnate Ward. Harold Fannin. If Harold Fannin, he still had Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end at Bowling Green, he still has a year of eligibility. If you want to prove like that you can do it, Justin Jolie transferred last year from UConn to NC State. I think Harold Fannin could transfer.
I don't think Harold Fannon's coming back.
That's risky. Yeah, I think he just goes.
Okay.
I understand the point you're making. I just when he has like 1,200 yards as a tight end, I think he just leaves. Even if he's not like a high-end guy.
He could. That's true. And I'm trying to think of did Harrison Bryant, did he do all 4 years at FAU? And
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
had like
But Harold
1,400
Fannin has
yards
one
last season, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the comparison that I'm making. You're coming from but I think that the MAC is probably a lower level of competition than
this is Fannon's 3rd year. So that's pretty unprecedented, right? A MAC tight end declaring after 3.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he's small. Like I don't know that going to Penn State fixes that he's 6'3", 225. You know, like
no, he replaces Oronde Gadsden at Syracuse.
I don't know that would help his stock.
I don't know what help his stock either. He's just tiny. Like he ain't gonna grow. Well, maybe he has a growth spurt in him. I don't know, but you're right. He's short.
He doesn't. Okay. All right. So let's cross that one off the list. Amarian Hampton. If he does not make the jump to the NFL,
man, he has to go to the NFL though, right?
But he's not. Is he a locked in 2nd round draft pick?
What? I wouldn't even say he's a locked in day 2 pick.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
How many carries does he want to have next year? That's the. I mean,
Jonathan Taylor had a bunch of carries. I mean, a lot of players have had a bunch of carries.
Mac Brown isn't coming back at the end of the year, so is he going to stay at UNC?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Could he go to Michigan? Could Amarian Hampton go to Michigan? Or if he could he go to Ohio State with no Travion, no
I just don't think he's an NFL back or like a high-end NFL back.
Which you don't stay at North Carolina though. Don't you think that you make the jump to prove it? You go to Michigan, you go to Ohio State, you go to USC.
He's going to run for what, like 1,300 yards again this year? Like, what more does he have to prove? It's not like he's in a lower conference. Like, the ACC isn't the Big Ten, but it's also not like we just saw a bunch of backs come out of UNC. I mean, Ty Chandler is going to start for the Vikings this week. There's a bunch of Javonte Williams in the NFL. Mike Carter's in the NFL. Like, it's not
Ty Chandler is starting for the Vikings. Is Aaron Jones hurt? Because I've got Aaron Jones in my lineup. Aaron Jones is hurt? Okay. I'm glad.
He was hurt last week, too.
That's what they call me, Mr. NFL.
Too. That's right. 2 weeks I can't believe we lost Aiden Hutchinson. Okay. Well, listen, I'm the only one who came up with names here. I think I was also looking at.
Oh yeah, was the point to down every single name that you brought, or was the point to agree? Or
What
don't
about
know.
Caden
I kind of
Salter?
didn't think through it.
Yeah.
Gio Lopez?
Gio Lopez is one I was going to say, but I think Gio Lopez is an NFL player. I really do.
I don't know if I'm
I don't
all
have
the way
feelings either
there,
way
but
on that.
I mean, I don't know. He played really bad in the first game of the season, but he's kind of cleaned it up since. And last night, I think he had like 11 straight completions or something crazy like that. After the spring game, not having 13 incompletions in a row, I'm just like, who is Gio Lopez? Because like I have no idea if he's just like stinks in practice or what. Because he looks way better than it's ever reported. I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion on Gio Lopez, but I could see that. I don't think it's crazy.
This is not a name I expected to discuss on the show today. Somebody asked, "Do
No,
you
I
think
didn't,
Nate Johnson will stay at Vandy?" CJ, if you are Nate Johnson, we did like you a lot coming out of high school. If this is a CJ or if a Nate Johnson burner, Nate Johnson's not an FBS level quarterback. So if Nate Johnson is smart, Nate Johnson gets a Vanderbilt degree. So,
Is Nate Johnson an FBS level quarterback at UCF?
no. Well, I mean, like we say, Malzahn likes to take just like the absolute worst thrower he can find, and it's like a personal struggle that he enjoys. I mean, the only way I think he's playing quarterback, or if he's playing at another FBS program, is if he switches positions.
I agree.
I think the quarterback experiment has failed for him.
Take the
Vandy
Nick
degree.
Nash. Take the Nick Nash route. Who was that quarterback from Arkansas that transferred a bunch and then went to FCS a couple of years ago? Come on.
Oh, yeah, he went to North Texas, Hornsby. Yeah.
Malik Hornsby.
Oh, yeah.
Or Texas State, not North Texas.
Okay, I got some other names here. These are more obvious ones. DJ Lagway and Trey Wilson after Billy Napier gets fired. Come on.
I think DJ Lagway is a starting quarterback at Texas A&M.
That's what
That's been I'm pretty sure there's like building blocks already there for that happening.
Package deal.
I don't know that I mean Napier's definitely getting fired, right? He's not staying. Like there's no way.
He's last year head coach Billy Napier.
So DJ Lagway's from
Texas.
Where did he go to high school?
Texas.
So yeah,
I forget what high school. But.
Yeah, I think A&M makes sense because I mean, I don't know that he's going to stay in Florida. Like he doesn't have an attachment there outside of Billy. Like I think Miami would make more sense if he was from Florida. I think he goes to a school that's going to pay up, and that answer is Texas A&M. That needs a quarterback, right? Like Texas already has their answer in Arch Manning.
As I sit here, I realize I should have picked sexier names, but I was thinking, who are the coaches that could get fired and their players transfer? Down at UAB, Trent Dilfer getting fired, then Amari Thomas and Cam Shanks. We liked Amari Thomas coming into the year, at least from a CFF perspective. But Cam Shanks is kind of overtaking him.
Amari Thomas is guys that like just might not be like the quality of player that we kind of thought based on, a handful of games from last year. Like I'm not saying that I haven't sat down and watched Amari Thomas or UAB this year. You couldn't pay me to do that at this juncture, but it might be the case.
I wish we got a clean year of evaluation at UAB because, like, they have sex pest Jalen Kitna starting. Like, information. Sorry. What a bracket. I'm just charges were dropped. He was let go from the University of Florida. So, but then tracked down. Sorry, I want to be correct.
I was trying to think of who could be the Jaquavius Marks, Quinshon Judkins, like that level of back to transfer. And I didn't have a lot of good names, but what about this is probably not it, but has Fluff Bothwell at South Alabama shown enough to like command, an FBS level team, or excuse me, a Power 4 level team to come get him from South Alabama? That's one. I mean, he's definitely built like one. He's definitely built like a Power 4 level running back. And he's flashed. He's been good. And I mean, how much money is it going to take to get Fluff Bothwell from South Alabama? Probably not a lot.
No.
So he's one. I mean, we could probably like go be in the front office of some program and say like, you should go get this guy. You should go get this guy. Because what's it going to take? I mean, I think if you offered Fluff Bothwell like $20,000, he's probably, yep, I'm gone. I'm gone. See you, South Alabama.
I don't know what the South Al NIL situation is like, but
they lost who? Colin Lacey last year. Was it I always get Lacey and the one that went to LSU mixed up from Liberty.
CJ Daniels?
CJ Daniels. I always get Lacey and Daniels mixed up. So schools have gone to South Alabama before for talent. Now, Cullen Lacey was like a beast last year, so it's not exactly the same. I expect Dave Aranda to get fired. Josh Cameron's a big athletic wide receiver. Richard Reese was one, as a true freshman, was really productive, so he could transfer. Evan says in the chat, Casey Concepcion at NC State.
Maybe.
I think some of Kevin Concepcion's usage is why he's valuable anyway. Like the way Robert and I use, he's used very much like Luther Burden is. Ches Malusi has already like stepped away from the team, so I guess he's having like a 7th year of eligibility. I don't know what he's doing. So I feel like I should have had Micah Hughes at Tulane. Did Marcus Carroll? Where was Marcus Carroll last year? Was it? Oh, it was Georgia. Was it Georgia State? Okay, yeah. Gavin Sawchuk.
I expect Sawchuk to transfer. Although, I'm not sure he's any good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
He should be better in this offense, and he's not.
He's just a very specific type of player. Again, not a guy that I would necessarily say is going to do well behind a struggling offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. He's from Colorado, but that doesn't seem like a great idea for a running back at this point. Maybe they go more run heavy next year after Shador's
Colorado State. Go split time with Justin Hart.
That's waving the white flag, though, right? From like an NFL perspective.
Probably.
Yeah.
You think Cam Seldon has any juice left?
I've tried to tell you.
I think that running back battle is going to be pretty open for Tennessee next year. Between Bishop, Seldon, Lewis. I think that's going to be an interesting battle.
No Khalifa Keith? Is Khalifa Keith not getting any run in that back?
He hasn't played that much this year, has he? Unless I'm just completely off on that.
I'm pretty sure he had an injury his senior year in high school. So, but I mean, that's
played a little bit. He's got 17 carries, 61 yards. So that's not.
Does LaQuint Allen have another year? Yeah, he does. But is he going to stay? Because I think Yassine Wills is a good back behind him. Who, if Allen stays, I wonder if he goes somewhere else.
Why would Dylan Sampson leave? I mean, he's getting some pretty good buzz. I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Day 2 guy. Day 2.
I can see round 3.
Round 3, 4.
Well, before could transfer to get them an FBS win. That's a good question.
The podcast audience can't hear Chris. What Power 4 player could transfer to UMass and get them an FBS win? Nate Johnson.
It'd have to be a quarterback.
How about Nate Johnson?
Okay, so before the season, I was reading UMass message boards, and they were really excited about the quarterback competition. And I'm like, you guys need you.
Is it Pumachan who's still there? Who's there?
Yeah, they're talking about Tyson Pumachan, and I was like, man, y'all really need. And then I asked our recruiting team about the third stringer there. They're like, I don't even know who that is, and I was like, okay, I'm down bad too now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more. Terrible. I know that there's somebody at UConn. Actually, UConn's running back room is the last time I checked is actually pretty decent.
Joey Fagano?
Their running back room?
Oh, I thought you meant at the quarterback position.
No,
they had running back 4 running backs that were all rotating that are good.
At UConn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. Yeah, last I checked, UConn.
Cam Edwards, I think, is the one leading the room now. I don't know. They have a lot. They have 4.
I know that they have a couple of guys that are all built like Power 5 guys. Darrell Robinson, Yeah, Darrell Robinson's a 6'1", 220-pound.
Yeah, he's beefy.
Mr. Patron Saint of the 250-pound running back.
He's 200 pounds. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. But they have a couple of guys anyway. But I know that there's somebody like at FCS level. There's a Cam Ward somewhere. There's a Justin Jolie somewhere that I'm not thinking about who could be a transfer player and be a big impact player. I just don't know who that is right now. But I mean, we'll spend
Devin Dampier.
Uh,
No?
How high can Devin Dampier go? He's not very big.
Yeah, I don't know where
he seems like he would be loyal because that coach is the only one who recruited him as a quarterback, right? He's got a little bit of like, yeah.
Is that true?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I know Bronco's the head coach now, but I don't know who on staff recruited him and if they stayed. Because he's a redshirt.
I think his story is similar to Thomas Castellanos, where everybody else wanted him to play a different position.
Yeah, Castellanos left at the first opportunity. Just throwing that out there.
But he wasn't playing, though. He wasn't starting at UCF.
That's the good point.
He wasn't starting. Devin Dampier is starting at New Mexico. But I mean, Devin Dampier, I mean, what is it gonna take to pull him from New Mexico? 100,000? I mean, if what did Matthew Sluka, what was he supposed to get at UNLV? 100,000, right? Devin Dampier is better than Matthew Sluka. Devin Dampier is a lot better than Matthew Sluka. So, you know, he actually, that's a good one, Austin. If Matthew Sluka can get 100,000, I think Devin Dampier could get 300,000, and that's a difficult chunk of money to say no to.
Didn't Braden Fowler Nicolosi, the Colorado State quarterback, say he was
said he was getting $1 million or whatever it was?
600 grand, I think. Nobody believes that, right?
No, nobody believes
I don't believe it.
Bud always makes fun of that on Cover 3. There's no chance.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dampier is more of a product of the system more than anything, because that system's made some quarterbacks.
That doesn't mean that an FCS or a Power 4 school is going to not want to come and get him, though. Yeah, Devin Brown to Utah next year. I don't think so, because Isaac Wilson is going to start he's going to start the rest of this season and next year.
Who's better, Devin Brown or Isaac Wilson?
Isaac Wilson. Devin Brown's not good. I'm sorry. We've seen Devin Brown. He's not good.
Who are you apologizing to? I'm not Mr. Devin Brown.
I should apologize to everyone.
Okay.
I should apologize to everyone. Devin Brown. Yeah. Any other guys you guys think could enter the transfer portal? My list was not sexy. I was thinking of coaches who could get fired. So you saw
Lenore Sellers.
No, why?
Coach Mike
Shane Beamer should get fired.
Where would Lenore Sellers go? Where is he from?
He's from
South Carolina. Road. Could he go replace Kyle McCord at Syracuse? Well, he was recruited by a different. Committed. That's what I'm saying. He was recruited by a different. He was by Coach my old camp counselor. Where is he the offensive coordinator now? Is he at
Arizona?
Oh, Arizona. Ooh.
I don't know if he's calling plays or not, but he is the offensive coordinator there.
He's not, or at least he wasn't. As of a recent game, because there was like a big story about Babers not calling the plays or something.
Okay, there you go. But send him to Arizona or replace Noah Fafita.
And we just put Deuce Robinson in Arizona. Arizona looking good now.
Yeah, I kind of like the rebuilt version.
Lenore Sellers to Deuce Robinson. I like it. If Nuss Lees is Underwood the starter next year, I think so.
LSU will bring somebody in to compete.
Yeah.
Darian Mensah.
Stay in state.
If you're Mensa, I think I know this isn't necessarily how these guys think, but I think you have to think long and hard. And I hope someone around him is telling him to think long and hard about going to a place where as soon as you mess up, because you have no goodwill built up at LSU, that job is going to, or the entire fan base is going to be calling for Bryce Underwood. I don't
think he can actually go there.
I think you have to think long and hard about that. So,
well, let's think about this then, because I've been trying to think about what quarterback would transfer to Michigan.
None. That's smart. What are you selling? Hey, we have a really run heavy offense with no good wide receivers. You want to come play?
They're not set. I don't think they're trying to get a portal guy there. I don't think they're going to try again next year.
Oh, they have to.
No, I don't think they are. I think they're going to try to roll Jaden Davis out there. I'm telling you what they're playing. I don't think they're going to try. I don't even think it occurs. I don't even think it occurs to their coach, like who's the head coach now? It was the OC last couple years. Sharon Moore. Thank you. I don't even think it occurs to Sharon Moore that it's not Jaden Davis. I really don't. I that's not a joke. I think he's sitting there thinking, we just got to get through this year. We got Jaden Davis coming up next year. We think he's real good. I think that's what they think.
How many years do you think Sharon Moore has at Michigan as the head football coach?
The whole thing with his contract right away, I would have been like, yeah, after like the first 2 or 3 games, it wasn't signed yet. I'd have been like, nah, if I'm the school, this isn't, no, we're just, sorry. We couldn't agree to a deal. I think he's a bad coach.
I mean, the promotion, who else were you going to promote? But like, still,
there were a lot of other elements at play.
Michigan's offense has always been,
I mean, I asked Chris K, and I actually like legitimately was asking this question: if you had to prescribe some sort of percentage of the national championship win to Sharon Moore, how much are you assigning to him? 10%? 5%?
I said 5.
Less than that? I mean, I kind of get the sense that everyone else in that staff from getting the team there was kind of not really doing much.
Here's the real question. Who has a higher percentage of the win share? Sharon Moore or Connor Stallions? I mean, thinking Sharon Moore is a really good offensive line coach. I don't want to downplay his impact. I'm just not really sure he's ready to be the head coach of Michigan.
No. I want to ask this, talking about like transfer locations. So, listen, I'm looking at Kyle McCord's eligibility. He is a senior and he played 6 games as a true freshman. So, like, that would lead me to believe that he doesn't have eligibility left, assuming that Kyle McCord is out of eligibility, which that might not be the case. Syracuse plays in a dome. They're throwing the ball all over the place this year. I mean, I would bet you Kyle McCord is probably in the top 10 in the country in attempts. Like, is Syracuse? Trevor Pena is a junior. Rhonda Gadsden is a junior also. I mean, they could have some real talent coming back to Syracuse, and that'd be a really cushy spot for a quarterback given the offense. Like, do you think that would be an attractive location for, a pocket passer that wants to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game?
Sure. Why not?
Who are the backups at UGA? Because that staff has all the ties to
Stockton. I think Stockton's interesting moving forward no matter what. I almost said him earlier as a name that I think it's a buy low right now.
Stockton Puglisi. Is Puglisi at Georgia?
Yeah, but I don't know that he was. Well, I guess he might have been because the staff came in late, but I don't know who his primary recruiter was. I like him a lot. That'd be good. That'd be a good name. But I mean, the Georgia connection makes sense. But I'm sure there's a ton of kids you could get from that area or like high enough recruits. Because I mean, McCord was from the Philly area, right? Philly?
Yeah.
I know it's from PA. Yeah. So it makes sense that he would go to like upstate New York. It's not that far. So probably a kid from that area, but it's not going to produce a lot of quarterback talent.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know in the comments who you think could transfer. My list was terrible. Welcome back, Chris. And maybe next week, it hasn't happened in a while. Maybe next week we get all 4 of us, me, Matt, Austin, and Chris on the show. Maybe we'll cross our fingers. Don't hope for it though. Apologies to Kirk Herbstreit. We ran out of time. We'll get him rescheduled soon for Austin and Chris. I'm Felix Sharpe. Good night and good luck.